Thank you to the Small Business Development Center for sponsoring The Vault at 201 North Broadway. The Small Business Development Center offers free personalized support from business plans to financial projections and beyond, empowering small businesses to thrive. Reach out to us at bigsky.economicdevelopment.org.
The following is a Big Sky Economic Development production.
It's Marce B.
And KaVo.
And this is The Vault at 201 North Broadway.
A business podcast.
Where we bring you entrepreneurs, small business owners, and community leaders of Montana.
To share their stories, expertise, industry insights, and strategies.
And we are sharing them all with you every single week.
You don't want to miss this.
Learn how to better start, manage, and grow your business.
And your leadership style.
Tangible takeaways to save you time and improve whatever it is that you're working on.
You're listening to The Vault.
In honor of our podcast name, The Vault at 201 North Broadway, we like to start each new season as close to 201 as we can, so February 1st. And this year, before we launch Season 3, we thought it would be fun to do a recap of Season 2. So here we go. Kayla and I are going to dive into our episode today, talking about the key themes we heard in Season 2. We're going to highlight a few episodes that really stuck out to us over 2024. And we're going to talk about what we are excited about in 2025 as we launch Season 3. And as always, we want to thank you for listening and being part of The Vault. So Kayla and I are here.
Hey, guys.
And we're really excited. We're just, like I said, we're going to recap Season 2. So Season 2 for us started in February of 2024. 201, or it was around there. It was a weekday.
I actually think it did fall in 201 because
Yeah.
we were on that Thursday, Monday.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
So we just wanted to highlight some of those things. So we're just going to do a format of back and forth. And I think the themes that we'd like to talk about are within our interviewing community leaders, small business owners, entrepreneurs, and resource partners here in our community and region. And one of the themes that came out of that, as you would maybe imagine, is leadership. And there were a couple episodes that really just hit home, and I'm just going to dive into those. So I'm going to go really quick.
Perfect. What was, one of the top ones that kind of led the leadership thought process with you?
Yeah, I think the first one that just really stuck out to me, and it was early in 2024 that it was released. It was episode 37, Leading with Authenticity and Intentionality with Chancellor Stephanie Hickswa. She just really talked about two things that stuck out. We talked about a lot in that episode.
Yeah.
Her career, how she got to where she
amazing.
is. She's amazing. Really a pioneer in her area of work. But she talked about being authentic and what that means to her. And if that's something that hits home with you as a listener, I would suggest re-listening to that episode. She really talks about what's authentic to her and keeping true to that as she's progressed through her career. And in addition to that, she also talked about the people along the way that have helped her get to where she is.
Yeah.
Because I think as leaders, we don't get where we are in our careers and in our life without those role models, those people along the way that help us get to where we're going. So 2 highlights out of that episode. A few other episodes that talked about leadership.
A lot this year.
I know. There were so many good ones, so it really was hard to pick, but was around the topic of servant leadership. And 2 episodes that really stuck out to me were episode 53, Lessons in Leadership from the Air Force, what it takes to be an excellent pilot and teaching future generations with Air Force veteran and pilot Dan Hargrove. And episode 55, Paul Green on servant leadership, authenticity, and cultivating growth in Montana. They both are such servant leaders. Paul's leading our state as the director of commerce, and Dan has been teaching and is the director of aviation at Rocky for now 21 or 22 years. And what I loved that Dan talked about, he talked about lots of things, right? But really what it means to be a servant leader. He was the commander of Air Force 2 during 9/11. And he really talks, I think the servant leadership part of his episode, it was throughout, but really landed when he started talking and sharing that story. They were flying all of these really well-to-do and, the VP, Secretary of State, all of these other high cabinet level officials, but their job is to get you from point A to point B safely, and just how he really talks about that. I loved it. And then Paul talking just about the things he's doing. He's so grateful to be in his role, so humble.
I was just about to say, is they're both such humble leaders.
Yes.
And they're never ones to be like, this is me. This is, how far I've come in it. Just having this natural conversation with them, you're able to learn more about the amazing things that they have done in their time and their service. And I would say very humble individuals.
Both veterans.
Doing amazing things in our communities and our state.
Yeah, and Paul's was just really great too, talking about leading for not themselves, like Kayla mentioned, but they both really just talked a lot about doing it because it's the right thing to do and giving back to the communities that they serve. The last two that really hit home as leadership topics for me was episode 51, Fostering a Culture of Leaders, Building Leaders with Dusty Eaton, and he's the CEO of A&E Design. And he just really talked a lot about the importance of organizational culture, which I really like and resonate with as we do a lot of culture things at Big Sky just to keep a strong team. But he also talked about the things that they do because he sees their whole team as leaders, and they're cultivating leaders constantly, and they're doing some really cool things within their organization to do that, from no matter what level of position you have at their organization and no matter what location, but building that strong team through cultivating leaders.
Which I think culture is such a hot topic right now.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people are trying to figure out, whether they're reincorporating working in an office together or they're continuing to work remote. How do you, reintegrate people back into an office culture or continue a culture going when people aren't in an office together? And so his was such a great episode, kind of going through how do you do that with people that are here and there and everywhere.
Yeah, and so I loved that, and that brings me to my last episode under the leadership category that I wanted to talk about today, and that's cultivating a collaborative team, having a strong work ethic, and building legacy through architecture with Nick Pancho. He's one of our BSID board members. He's now our chair this year, so that's cool, but he just talked a lot, too, about organizational culture, cultivating a strong team, and how they do that at Collaborative, and he shared some really great insights within that episode.
Well, and Nick is such a smart guy. I mean,
I know.
I sit there and I'm just back.
He had his papers. He was ready, but just
so ready,
very articulate.
And every time I talk to him, he's just a wealth of knowledge, and he just carries himself in such a welcoming, warm way that he's just so approachable. And he tries really hard. He's constantly thinking about different things within his leadership teams and with his employees, and how can they continue to strive in this, ever-changing market. And Nick is a great one, and his episode was a highlight for me as well.
Yeah. So, Kayla, it's your turn. What were some of your takeaways?
Yeah, well, I mean, selfishly, they were some of the ones that I actually put together to share. But I think what was a really cool theme this year was just providing some of the resources to actually take action on. So those that are listening to the podcast and they're thinking, these are great. I'm hearing stories about people's trials and tribulations throughout their business. But here I am, I want to start a business. How do I actually do that? And so this season we actually, broke down, and we have lots of episodes on doing just that. So episode 38 is the 10 steps to start your business here in the state of Montana. And those 10 steps can be switched over to whatever state you're listening in or whatever county you're listening in. The 10 steps are there for you to start taking action today. So the other thing is, one of the steps in this 10 steps to start your business is picking an entity. So although we're not attorneys or accountants, I'll always add my disclaimer there. I'm never advising you on any legal or tax advice, but we talk to you about the different entities that you can choose for your business and what's the benefits and pros and cons, I guess, of each one. Another thing that we see all the time that I thought was really good is the respond versus react episode. That was episode 52, and it's using the 4 Ps to create a thoughtful and appropriate response. A lot of times we see business owners in a situation where they have to make a decision, and instead of sitting there and thinking it through and responding to to the situation that's occurring, they react to it. And sometimes that's not making the best decision for their business. So I really loved that episode. I think episode 32 with our SBA 504 loan team here at Big Sky Finance was financing your business. So what are different ways that you can finance your business? How can you tap into some of the SBA financing tools to make that dream happen for you? And then, the last one that really it resonated with me that I thought was just a great resource that we provided this year was episode 56, the importance of a business plan and how to actually build one. So, although it's condensed, right? Like it's not, I'm not step by step making a business plan with you in that episode. It's just helping you understand why a business plan is important for you as you're starting your business journey, whether it's just a very simple one, just so you can understand how your business is going to operate, how what do you do if this pops up? How are you marketing? How are you going to make money? How is that all situated? And that's just set out for you in that plan. So when business gets busy and crazy, which it will, you can look back and go, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Here's how I can refocus myself. Yes, this is my why. I think that happens a lot of times with business owners is they get so stuck in the day-to-day that they forget what they're actually doing. And then they just kind of need that, oh, that's why I started this. Yeah, this is what made me want to do this, bringing you back to that important piece. So
I really liked these ones that you highlighted. And what I loved about this past year was you guys through the SBDC, you ladies, you and Lorene, work with clients on these things on a daily basis. So sharing it for listeners just so they can listen and learn no matter where they're at. I think they were a great list of educational episodes.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's the biggest part. It was a big reason why we started the podcast is to be able to give people resources and information to help them that they can just listen to as they're doing other things. Mm-hmm. If you're doing inventory in your business, you have time to sit there and go, well, how can I better myself? Or let me listen to some other businesses' experiences and see if I can learn anything from that. So providing these resources that you can actually take action on has been one of my highlights of this season. So.
Yeah, I really like that.
All right, Marcella, you have another one that you really enjoyed this season.
Yeah, and that next sort of theme that I pulled out looking back at our past episodes of 2024 was branding. I think a lot of episodes touched on it, talked about it as they're talking about, especially those community leader episodes. They're talking about their culture, their organization, which ties into branding. I think all of that is encompassed when you're talking about an organization. But a couple episodes that really stood out to me was episode 45, Business, Branding, and Sustaining a Family Legacy with Weave Industry Sisters, Jerry and Jennifer. One, I just think they're a fabulous duo.
Oh, powerhouses.
Sisters in business, which is just its own, family business is its own thing. That's just different, too, because your partners are your family. But
they navigate it so well.
They do. And I think what's so interesting is they've come into this business that their dad built, and they talk about all of this in their episode, but their dad had all of these really great individual entities happening that were doing similar, but a little bit of a different, so they all were different entities. And from the experience that Jerry and Jennifer had outside of Montana through college and then some of the other places they worked at, they came home, got into the family business, and they took all of these entities and put them under one, which is Weave Industries. And if you're not familiar with Weave Industries, they're also something that I just love and respect out of these two, is they're leading a company that's historically known to be led by more predominantly by men. And so these two sisters are doing really great things. One of their biggest things is their trucking. I mean, it's a trucking company is one, and then they do limestone mining and construction and some of these other really cool things. And they're just doing it in such a great way. And being out at their facility, I had the opportunity to actually go out there and see it. It's amazing. They've just done great things with it. Their team is very dynamic, and they've just really cultivated something special at Weave. The other episode that I will selfishly, coming back to what we offer, was how to level up your talent attraction and retention efforts utilizing Better Off in Billings. And that was one that you and I just did, Kayla. And I just, for organizations looking to attract and retain talent, I think we all know that it's more than just highlighting your organization, but it's also highlighting your community that you're choosing to do business in, whether you're recruiting someone from the community and or out of market. I think that Better Off in Billings has some really great resources for you to use to help highlight all that is going on in our community, and that I hope that businesses tap into, and it's just at betteroffinbillings.org. But we have some really great community things. We've just added something new, which is an industry map showing different types of industries here in our community. And that's a phase one of a multiple phased project. But what's cool about that is if you're a high school student, or maybe you're looking at just doing something different, or starting your career, you can kind of take a glance at this map and see, like, what are some of the industries and organizations I can work at? What type of career can I have with the type of education I have? So whether you're coming out of high school or you have an associate's, bachelor's, whatever that degree is, there's a lot of opportunity for you here in Billings to do that. So just some cool resources on how to market your company and the community that you are doing business in. So I think that was one that was highlighted for me in this recap.
I would also say with that, it's not even, hey, I've got this schooling, now where can I get a job? But you can look at that and go, oh, that seems interesting. Let me see if they're taking an internship. Mm-hmm. Let me see if that's for me. So that's even like high school students should be looking at that and going, oh, I had no idea there was a business like that in this community. How could I get involved with that? So, honestly, love BOIB.
That's
how BOIB, Better Off in Billings.
Acronym. And I think you just bring up one other point. I think it's really cool about Billings, and I think some people just, maybe we don't know, but Billings has so many industry opportunities. We're a diverse industry, and we're a hub, an economic hub for our state. So whether it's medical, oil and gas, energy, finance, agriculture, and so many service-based, so many others. Manufacturing. Billings is a really cool place to be because there's a lot of unique things going on that maybe, you're not seeing on the front page of the news or on social media, but there's some really cool companies, if you just research a little bit, that are doing really cool things to be part of.
Well, big city, small town feel, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Kayla, what's your next? What's the next thing you heard?
Oh man, I think I've mentioned it in several of the articles that we've had come out on our podcast recently, but listening to your customers. And one business I think that does just an amazing job at this is John with Alaskan Seafood Guys. And you can listen to his podcast episode 1. It was amazing just to hear the
episode
experience.
63.
Yeah, episode 63. The experience that he got from working on, boats over in Alaska, and then, manufacturing facilities for seafood, and how he's taken that love here. Right. And so, he just does such a great job of listening to what his clients are saying they want, or the things that they need, or something that they're interested in, and then pivoting, all the time. And I know pivot is such a trigger word. I mean, we all loved it from Friends. But I think during COVID, it really just started to wear on people. But, he just adjusts his business a little bit to match what his customers are asking for. And I think that's really where his success has been.
And he's so passionate. His episode to record, you could just it
was vibrating.
Feel his energy, which was so fun. And his story's so cool. So Kayla mentioned it, but he grew up in Alaska. His dad's from Montana, so he'd come and spend summers until he was old enough to work. But he talks about working on a tender, which I'll let you guys listen to the episode because it's different than what we think of in Montana as a tender, if you're at all familiar with firefighting, but just so good. It's so passionate.
So passionate. And his episodes definitely a highlight for me. He's just an amazing human, and he's such a collaborator and a small business advocate. I mean, he's out there willing to help any small business in any way that they can, and that is just so amazing. I think another person who does a really good job of keeping on point with her mission and her customer satisfaction and how she wants the experience to be is Becky Saylor with Bumps and Bundles.
Yes, so good.
Episode 59, How to Discover Your Passion, Follow Your Dreams. She really has stuck to her guns on what her mission and beliefs were. And she does a great job in listening to what her clients and customers want and need in the store. But she does such a great way of presenting it to them and keeping it fresh and keeping connected with her clientele. And she's just a great episode that I recommend people to listen to.
And I love that one. So a quick story on that one with Becky, owning Bumps and Bundles, which is a children's
celebrating 9 years.
Boutique. Yeah. So she has clothing, but like other things, strollers and all of that. So my sister-in-law was in from Seattle. They're expecting, which is really exciting. But it's sometimes hard to find. Yeah, I think I forgot. Yeah, anyways, Kayla's learning for the first time. Not sister-in-law people, but which is really exciting. But they live out in the greater Seattle area. And so they were home for the holiday. I was like, you have to go to Bumps and Bundles. Like, you just have to go.
Yeah.
They know the strollers to buy, the car seats to buy. And they had such a good experience going out there because it's hard to find some of those like unique small-owned boutiques in those larger markets, number one. 2, they're like, if your order is over 100, we'll ship it to you. Then they're not paying sales tax because it's coming from Montana. And just the experience they had there, they're like, oh my gosh, they were so amazing. And I'm like, I know.
And Becky, good. She's such an educator. She'll explain why they chose this piece.
And they know the products they have in the store. They back them.
She stands behind them. She'll sit there and talk to you about them. She'll explain the benefits of one versus the other. She'll talk to you about the benefits of this fabric for different types of babies and things like that. So, that's an awesome example of Becky's amazingness.
I know. And I think
she's just awesome.
So good. And I think what I love about these small businesses that you've highlighted and that we have on the podcast is they're small local businesses, but they also help take some of that decision fatigue off of your plate because they don't have they're not a Walmart with, a bunch of options for strollers, car seats. And that's great for some market, you need that too. But if you're able, they help curate really quality products for you. So if you're having your first kid, that, that car seat's going to see other life if you have additional kids. So just amazing. So.
Oh, absolutely. And the one thing I will say about any of the small businesses within our community, if you just call them up or if you had a conversation with them, they'll shop for you in their store and they'll put it
create
together.
Baskets for you for gifts.
Create gifts.
Amazing.
You just have to say, Frey does a great job at that. She was season 1. She does an amazing job at going through. And if you say, hey, I want a Made in Montana basket with, edible items, she'll curate a whole special basket for you. And that is every one of these businesses. Becky will do that.
For Easter baskets, people coming up Easter, she puts together the cute, if you have kids or if you like jelly cats, which if you don't know what a jelly cat is, look that up too. They're really fun and cute. But
yes. So
anyways,
that's just an amazing piece of these small businesses.
Yeah. So fun. My last theme that really stuck out to me this past season falls under what I would consider that leadership kind of theme, but it's gratitude. And one of my favorite episodes was with Jason Leninger, episode 47, and it was titled Transforming Your Life with Gratitude, Lessons from Jason. I just think I've known Jason for a really long time. We used to work in the dental community together, and then now we have our other jobs. My more big kid job, I was in college working there, but just the transformation that I've seen with Jason and all of the great insights he has on that episode, just leading with gratitude every day and the things he does. And he's just so grateful to be in the industry he's in, to have the family he has. And I think he leads with that and it returns tenfold for him.
Oh, yeah. He's just
so humble, such a great community leader, does things because they're the right thing to do. And I just think that episode would be a great one as, we're kicking off the new year in January, February, March.
Just a good mindset.
Yes,
shift.
So good.
One thing I love about that is nothing is ever, why did this happen to me with Jason? It's a lesson.
It is.
Every situation that comes to him, he's, okay, how can I learn from this?
And there was an example, a Chinese proverb or
Yes.
something.
Oh,
Don't quote me on that because it's probably the wrong terminology, but it's like, you know, as things are happening to you in life, it's like seeing them for the bigger picture.
He tells that story.
So good. And it's like, was that bad? Or, you know, maybe it's a good thing in a year or in a few months after it happens. And he just shares some really great insights. So such a good episode.
Yeah. And Jason's just an amazing,
Salt of the earth
genuine human. Yep. Yes.
Doing great things. He's in real estate. That's his by trade, by day. He's also a Better Off in Billings ambassador, but just a guy that's, you know, if you need a helping hand, he's there to give it.
Well, and he'll just sit down with you and just listen to you and help you work through whatever's going on.
Yep.
Yeah.
So good.
Just a good guy. Well, my final main theme that I was seeing throughout this year, and we had some hard hitters with this topic.
Yeah, we did.
And
some ones to come that aren't even out
really
yet.
Great ones that we have recorded already, but customer service. And I think that's just huge because customer service in every industry looks a little bit different, but really when you get down to the nitty gritty of it, the fine details are the same, right? It's you have to think through the same things as how do I want my customer to feel coming in, leaving, thinking about me later on. One of the biggest ones that stood out to me is how to cultivate transformational customer service to provide memorable hospitality with Abby Reno.
So good.
Episode 49, absolutely amazing. She has such a way of making an experience for you, even when you're just shopping. Like you're not even having to go in and get charcuterie and wine in the wine bar area, but even if you're just shopping for beer, cider, wine, charcuterie pieces,
pasta sauce, you know?
Yes, everything. There's an experience to that. The moment you walk in the door, you're greeted very kindly. I went in there over Christmas and was just like, okay, I know this person likes this kind of wine. What's another wine that I could show them like this, you know? And, you know, I could just give them things like that. Good. And they'll spend all the time in the world with me to make sure I had just an amazing experience. And they remember you, which is
they do.
They're so good about it.
Or you called to make a reservation and then they're like, oh, hi, Marcel. And I was like, yes, thank you.
Yes. And so
great.
There's just so many good pieces of customer service within her episode, but just go experience it yourself. I mean, she's done such an amazing job at it.
And what I loved about hers too is she talks about the things she does with her team. So if you're thinking like, how do I elevate my organization's customer service, whether you're providing a service, a product, which if you're providing a product, you're likely providing some service too. Just a really motivational episode.
Yeah. How can you implement it? Yeah.
She's hospitality.
So good. The other one I would say is amazing is The Marble Way, elevating Billings food scene with heart and flavor. And that's with Jason and Jen Marble. Episode 65, absolutely amazing. One of my favorite restaurants in town. One of my new favorite coffee shops in town. But they have such a way because they don't want you coming in and feeling like a customer. They want you to come in and feel like family. And that's the whole backbone to, there's this come eat at my table.
Which I love.
Yes.
The Marble Table. So Marble Table and Marble Coffee, it was before Marble Coffee opened, but they talked about like the details that they were putting behind, like even their menu. Jason's allergic to nuts, so they won't have any, you know, and I think there's a lot of people that have different types of allergies. And so they're making it a really like safe space for people where there's not even a cross of contamination.
A question if that's occurring, yes.
And their Biscoff flavoring is like to die for. So
yes, they just do an amazing job. But I mean, their whole aspect behind everything was, you know, we want you to walk in that door and feel like you're at our family table. And just down to Jason comes out from the kitchen several times throughout service and is talking to people and asking them how their meals were and getting to know them. And how often do you get to sit there and have a conversation with the chef / owner?
There a lot.
And Jen is always there, you know,
greeting you.
And she's checking on you at your table. And
their staff is fun. And they're very attentive. But like they're fun.
And that's the thing you have to look at too, is they've had staff for years. And in that industry, you have a lot of turnover. So they're not only do they make it a culture for their clients and customers coming in to feel like family, but they've made their employees feel like family.
Yep.
And so such a good episode. The last thing I want to mention with customer service is this was one of our resource shorts that we released about why consistency matters in your business, episode 48. I think a lot of people need to listen to this. It's not talking about it's not just talking about consistency in hours, but it's talking about consistency in experience. You know, if I went into City Vineyard and it was a different experience every single time, I guess I should say it's always a different experience, right? Going in, but I'm experiencing the same pieces of customer service.
Quality, service,
every time I go in. But if I was like, one time nobody greeted me and no one wanted to help me, and then I came in the next time and I had a really great person and he did an amazing job, and then the next time, like, I didn't have any help, you know, I'm not getting consistency in how I'm supposed to be feeling. And so it's really hard to have a loyalty to your business or your brand because I'm not experiencing that every time I go in. And so that episode really talks about why it's important in your business to have consistency, not just in your hours, not just in your posts, not just in your marketing, but in how you're making your customers feel every time they are interacting with you.
Yep. I really like that.
So,
and these are just some of the key themes that we pulled out from 2024. If you're a constant listener, hopefully you've had, maybe there's some others that stick out to you, and we'd love to know that. So if you comment on our Instagram and let us know, we would love that at the Vault Instagram. But these are just some of the 6 that between Kayla and I, 3 each, that really stood out to us.
And it was tough. I mean, guys, we just were, you know,
there's so many good episodes.
76 this week, and there's so many good episodes, and to just pick just a few was so difficult. We had to think about it for like a month. I'm not even joking.
We did.
To figure out which ones we were going to talk about, but there's just great episodes. So go back and take a listen, but know that for season 3, we've got some amazing guests coming on, and we definitely don't want you to miss those.
Right. And Kayla, as we're entering 2025, what are some business reminders and things coming up, you know, to keep an eye out for?
Yeah, well, right now we're in annual report filing season. So 2025 annual reports are now available. You need to go onto the Secretary of State site and make sure that you file that. With Montana, the state of Montana Secretary of State office, if you file before April 15th, they are providing a one-time fee waiver for your renewal this year. So make sure that you go file your annual report, but do it before April 15th, and it'll be free for you. The other thing I will tell you is just to keep an eye out for the BOI, the Corporate Transparency Act. I think everybody has been kind of wondering what's happening with that, but right now it's at a standstill, potentially opening back up. So just keep aware of what that could look like for you. The fines are pretty hefty if you don't register in a certain amount of time. So if it does come back up, just go ahead and register. It seems redundant. I will say the application seems redundant, but just keep putting your information in. You'll finally get to the end of the form. It's really simple, but right now it is paused. So those are just some things that I would say to keep an eye out. It's also tax season, so make sure you're getting prepared for that. Clean your stuff up so it's cheaper for you when you bring it to your accountant, and then get your taxes done, or make sure you're filing your extensions in order to file your taxes a little bit later. But those would be some of the things I would say upcoming for business world. Yeah,
I think that's great. So in season 3, we'll be releasing a new episode every single week on a new simplified schedule.
Kick off your week with The Vault. Be inspired by the people in our community, building businesses, leading their organizations, and growing our economy.
Well, thanks for listening to our recap.
Thanks.
We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Make sure you are subscribed to The Vault at 201 North Broadway, wherever you podcast, including YouTube.
Connect with us on Facebook at The Vault at 201 North Broadway and Instagram at TheVault_201.
Don't forget to visit us at thevault@201.com and subscribe to our newsletter.
We will see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you to Big Sky Economic Development for supporting The Vault at 201 North Broadway. Big Sky Economic Development provides leadership and resources for business creation, expansion, retention, new business recruitment, community development, and workforce development. Learn more at bigsky economicdevelopment.org.